Hola, hola. Welcome back to the American Dream Despite It All. Al Grano, I am your host, Nora Vargas. We are absolutely living in difficult times. Around the world and right here at home, we're fighting for our democracy. Rights we thought were secure are being shipped away. Injustices are piling up, and for many of us, it feels heavy, exhausting even. So here's a question. How do we keep fighting for democracy, for our communities, for our families, while also fighting for ourselves? How do we shift the paradigm and push back against everything we were taught? That we have to sacrifice, that we have to hustle, and sometimes until we collapse, that putting ourselves first is selfish. That is why I created this podcast, to get al grano, to have real talk about what it means to live the American dream. Not just surviving, but thriving with corazon and grit despite it all. And so today we're going to dive into something that's, let's be honest, every Latina has heard it at least once in their life. You know that phrase, la muy muy? ¿Y esta qué? ¿Quién se cree la muy muy? We've all heard it. Maybe we've even said it in passing. Maybe we've whispered it at a family gathering. Maybe throw it around at work. And let's be real, it's usually not meant to be as a compliment. It's a little dig, that side-eyed, that way of saying, don't get too loud, don't shine too bright, don't think too highly of yourself. I remember, estaba chiquita, right? And cuando yo sea grande, when I grow up, I'm going to go to college, whatever. And all my cousins were like, whatever. I was the first one in my family to go to college. And since then, I was being given the sort of side eye, ¿verdad? Because I was going to be an attorney and I was going to be a politician and I was going to do all these things. But I grew up in a family where it was really part of our regular conversation to be able to think about what we wanted to do, how we wanted to make the world better, and what we wanted to change. And so I wanted to create Al Grano and this component of being able to have these conversations because I want us to unlearn and unpack some of the things that in our culture, so many of our pieces of our culture have made us who we are and make us great. But so many other pieces of our culture sometimes could be hard for so many of us, right? And we talk about imposter syndrome, we talk about a lot of these things. And so sometimes it's important to peel that onion a little and think about where does it come from? And so for me, when I think about la muy muy is more than just a phrase. It's a way of policing ambition, it's cultural, it's generational, and it's about more than words. It's about power. And so I want to break it down. I want us to talk about how la muy muy shows up in our lives, in our families, in our workplace, even in politics. We'll laugh, we'll shake our heads with a good no manches at some of this ridiculousness that we see sometimes. And then we'll flip it. Because at the end of the day, la muy muy doesn't have to be an insult. It's a proof that we're daring to actually shine. Así que grab your cafecito, your water, your tea, and get ready, porque this episode is about reclaiming la muy muy and wearing that crown and making sure that you are shining bright. So la muy muy is a phrase loaded with history. It comes from a place where women, especially Latinas, were expected to be humble, quiet, and grateful for whatever space was given to them. Have you ever heard, or you've heard that saying, "Callita te ves más bonita"? I haven't done well with that phrase, by the way, but anyway, where confidence was seen as arrogance, where ambition has been something that it's dangerous, it's very not female-like, right? And for me, I think it's important to be clear. When te dicen te crees muy muy, yes, it's part of our culture, but many times it comes from teasing or as a way to describe someone who's acting a little too confident and secure. No nos hagamos, sometimes it's a little passive aggressive. And it's like saying, oh, you think you're all that, or you're feeling yourself like you feel like you're too much. Well, it's like, llegan con el carro, you bought a new car. Oh, yeah, now se cree mucho. Or just because she went to college, she se cree mucho. And many times it may not be about intention, but the way it impacts us is, right? And because in the end, it's not just words. It starts creating doubt in yourself. It's about people planting seeds that make you question your worthiness or your right to shine or your right to, take space. And how dare you have the audacity to think that you can do that? And so for me, in my 30 plus years as an executive, an elected official, as someone who's been working in my community for years and for years, it's it's hit me in different ways from different people. And I think about one particular space that I think one particular I think experience that was tough for me was when I was deciding to run for office for the County Board of Supervisors, right? It was an open seat. There had never been a person of color, a woman who was a person of color, I should say, that had run for that seat. And there are all sorts of people and, that had already decided that they were running. And I decided to run. And my decision to run was very personal. It was related to my mama and healthcare and access. And so I did my due diligence, right? I used to, in my other life, run campaigns. So I had my little sheet of all the things that I needed to do and all the people I needed to talk to. And so I went to talk to one particular elected official. And I remember talking to them and asking them for their support. And when we were talking, I sat there and I started telling them like, oh, I have been an executive for many years now. I've been elected office. I had been on the Southwestern Community College board, representing the board for 7 years, and I had a district that was about 450,000 voters. That's like bigger than many states in our country. And so I was like, no manches, I'm like totally able to do this, right? I'm seasoned. But the response I got was, no, you need to wait your turn. You need to build a constituency. O sea, como, ¿qué te crees? It was the conversation that was had with me, right? Like, who do you think you are? It's not your turn. You have to wait your turn. And it did plant a little bit of doubt. And it did, make me question a little bit about like, oh my God, am I doing this the wrong thing? And all of that. But I think in the end, I stopped and I thought about how important it was to represent my community and my why and why I knew I wanted to do all this. And so it really, really, for me, ignited this ability to say, sí, yo sí puedo y lo voy a hacer because it's the right thing to do. And I'm prepared. I have the experience, the knowledge, the know-how in my community, and I'm going to knock on those doors and I'm going to do it. So I will say that I did become the first Latina, first immigrant, first woman of color, first fronteriza, la primera que hablaba español on the Board of Supervisors to get elected. And it was one of the proudest moments for me, for my family, for my friends, for our community. And it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. But it doesn't just happen to people in politics, right? It just doesn't happen to the CEOs. It happens to all of us. It happens to many of you. And so how many times did you speak up when you were in school and like, ay, esa, siempre like, she raises her hand and everybody thinks that she sabe todo, right? And somehow we start, that empiezas a opacar because you don't want people to think that you're like all that. And at family gatherings, when somebody achieves something, instead of hearing, ay, qué bueno, mijita, sometimes it comes with a side eye from some folks. Esa como se cree la muy muy. And so I want you to pause here with me and think back of the first time someone tried to cut you down for being confident. How did you feel? How did your body feel? How did your shoulders tense up? Did you feel small? Or maybe did you get angry? Or were you like, este qué? I think to me that those moments matter because those little seeds of doubt, they stay with us. And that label, la muy muy, says more about the person using it, the women that are trying to, that are actually trying to do something and shine. So it's not about fear. It's not about our audacity. And it's really about us reclaiming it and proving that we're not shrinking and we're shining. And so when I think about no manches, right, I want us to think about that particular moment because really no manches is our way of saying, enough with the double standards that exist. Like, when a man pounds the table in a meeting, he's a strong leader. But when a woman disagrees, suddenly she's la muy muy or está enojada or whatever. So when a Latina asks for a raise and she's called too ambitious, right? But when a man asks for a raise, he's very strategic. or when a woman is in leadership and they get described as intimidating just for doing their jobs. It has happened to me, right? You're too direct, you're too, it's too much. And so the hypocrisy is real. I've seen it played out time and time again in campaigns, in boardrooms, in community meetings. The very traits that make us effective leaders, confidence, clarity, courage, they get twisted into criticism. But here's the funny part. The same people who call us la muy muy for daring to shine are the ones who get the most uncomfortable when we actually speak up, when we take the mic, when we step into leadership roles, and we have the courage to give our perspective, because our perspective matters, because our history matters, because where we come from matters, and all those lived experiences are what really make a difference. So yes, no manches. The double standard is alive and well, but when we call it out, when we laugh at it, when we keep showing up anyway as our true authentic selves, we're actually taking our power back. So here's today's golden nugget, el grano de oro. Being called la muy muy, we're not going to take it as an insult anymore. It's a confirmation that we're daring to take up space. It's proof that we're shifting our narrative. And I'm going to recommend that you think about these 5 tools to carry with you. Number 1, reframe it as a compliment. If they're calling you la muy muy, it means they noticed your light. Number 2, practice owning your space, whether that's speaking up in a meeting or saying your ideas out loud or at the dinner table. It's your space. Own it. Number 3, celebrate your wins publicly, not to show off, but to normalize mujeres shining, right? And when another woman does it, support her. Journal about it. Ask yourself, what are the seeds of doubts, if anything, were planted in me, and how can you uproot them, right? And then affirm daily. Si soy la muy muy, y con mucho corazón, y con grit, I say it until I believe it. And last but not least, let's support each other. Because when you see a woman shining, we want her and we want to support each other so that we can lift each other up and continue to do wonderful things together. So I want to try something with you. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, if you can. Imagine someone looking at you with that side eye and muttering, ay, la muy muy. But instead of shrinking, imagine yourself strengthening your crown, because that's what it is, your crown, and reminding yourself that that's your power. That's what you have to do. So today, I want to say thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for an opportunity to have real talk. I want to hear your stories. I want to know if you've been called la muy muy. How did it make you feel? I want you to share it with me. I want you to use the hashtag my glow era, so we can flip the script together. And don't forget, the next episode, we're going to talk about what it means to be the first. You're the first daughter, the first this, first of your family to go to school, the first one to, have a manager job, the first one to break through. It's a very different experience, because being the first sometimes, although it comes with a lot of pride, it also comes with pressure. And when we talk about how to carry that weight and transform our legacies into making sure that we have a long-term impact, I know we can do it together. So remember, you don't need permission to shine. This is your American dream. With corazón, grit, and agency, despite it all, this is your glow era.